Talk Power Rankings presented by our friends at Toyota. I did think about putting the 49ers at number 1.
Wow, did you really?
It did cross my mind.
Wow.
Yes. Because they were so freaking dominant.
I hear you.
That Philadelphia's not going into Jacksonville and winning 34-3.
I don't think so either. I don't. I mean, listen, I would have kept the Eagles number 1. I don't think you're wrong for that. You know, like you said in earlier segments, the number 1 stat is, outscoring the other team on that given day. And the Eagles do that better than anybody. Now, but at their very best, when you see, when we've seen the Eagles at their best this year and we've seen the 49ers at their best this year, eye test to me, I think it kind of what you're saying too, is it seems like the 49ers look better when they're both at their best. But the Eagles haven't hit some of the, valleys or low spots that the 49ers hit, and of course in that 3-game win streak. So that's where I think you gotta keep the Eagles at number 1. But I certainly hear what you're saying about the 49ers.
People ask me all the time, how far can the 49ers go? They can go all the way to the top if they keep their team healthy. And that's just not, oh, wow, it would be really unlucky if we get a guy injured. These are the guys who roll out of bed and run through the wall, and they're going to get hurt. Right now, everybody's healthy. It's not going to stay that way. We know it's not going to stay that way. They play the Seahawks twice coming up. It's not going to stay that way. They play the Eagles coming up. It's not going to stay that way. The way these players are wired, they don't care if they get hurt. They're not worried about next week. They're worried about right now. They're worried about kicking your ass right now. And if they emerge from that interaction with an injury, they'll deal with it. The problem is it hurts the team.
Yeah.
And it causes the team to lose 3 games in a row potentially if you don't have your best players available, like Deebo Samuel, like Christian McCaffrey,
Trent
at least
Williams.
not at 100%, like Trent Williams.
Yeah.
That's what affects them. And it's not just random fluky, oh, maybe we'll get lucky and nobody will get hurt. If you had a likelihood, if there was a measurement out there of a percentage chance likelihood of players getting injured on a given team, the 49ers would be number 1 because of the way they play.
I don't disagree with you there. We talk about it's what makes them awesome, but it's what makes life a little dangerous for them too. They are kamikaze. They are. And they play a physical brand of football that certainly can lead to some injuries and affect their football team. All right, so I got some other issues with you here, okay? I like that you left the Eagles number 1. I like that you put the 49ers at 2 over the Chiefs. I'm not mad at that, even though they have one more loss, right? The one where I look at it a little bit is I go, I think you're being a little recency biased with your 4 and 5. I don't think I would have put the Lions in front of the Ravens yet. All right. And here's this, I got major respect for the Lions, but, again, they did get killed by the Baltimore Ravens a few weeks ago, totally obliterated and blown out. But on top of that, too,
yes,
the Lions beat the Chargers. Chargers are solid, but we know it's that team, that defense. It doesn't get much worse in football than that Chargers defense. And the Browns, and the Ravens, who just blew out the Seahawks, who were a good team. The Browns are legit. The Browns' talent is up there with anybody in football. If Deshaun Watson can stay healthy and just get in a groove, the Browns are going to be in your top 4 or 5 here at some point. They got one of the best O-lines in football. We just talked about their defense. It's awesome at all 3 levels. They got a great tight end. They got a good running back. They got good receivers. So that's where I think you're being a little harsh on the Ravens there, dropping them 3 spots. I at least would have kept them in the top 4.
I put greater emphasis on November wins over October wins. And I think the deeper we get into the season, and you can call it recency bias, I just think as we get deeper and deeper into the season, you got to beat your division rivals at home. It's one thing to blow out the Lions at home in October. You get the Browns coming to town in a big game. You're trying to separate from the pack in your division. You can't fall down and lose that game. And, yeah, it could go either way, and I agree with you. The Ravens did kick the caca out of the Lions, so it is a little glaring. And I'll say this about the Browns. I'm looking at the MVP odds now, and I'm surprised that Myles Garrett is on the board where he is. He's 180-1 right now.
Yeah.
If the Browns keep doing what they've been doing, and like you said, if Deshaun Watson can be available on a regular basis and play a little more like we've seen, like the guy he was in Houston,
yep,
the Browns pull the inside straight here and end up with a 1 seed. Myles Garrett is the 3rd ever defensive NFL MVP. He'll be number one on my ballot if the Browns are the 1 seed in the AFC. Now, it depends on who the number 1 seed is in the NFC. Boy, I'm getting my conferences screwed up. But Myles Garrett's going to be in my top 2 at a minimum if the Browns end up somehow finagling the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's not going to be easy, but they're in the mix for it. They're only 1 loss behind the Chiefs, who are currently at the top with 2 losses.
Yeah, I got no problem with what you're saying. For right now, and the way it is, this is a year where there's no clear-cut front runner, in my opinion, at quarterback to sit here and go, oh, we definitely give him the MVP. You've heard my 2 cents. You know, the MVP in football, if we had a vote on it last week, to me would have been Tyreek Hill. I mean, every week, that's all we talk about is, whoa, who's going to stop? How do you stop? Whoa, there he goes. Look at the highlights. Oh, Tyreek Hill. I mean, I feel like is everybody not realizing that he's the most talked about person on a week-to-week basis? So, yeah, him, A.J. Brown, Myles Garrett for that defense, the sacks, the plays, the influence he has on the football game, it goes beyond the sacks and numbers too, Mike, to your point. There's a lot of F the play up stats. There's a lot of, big tackles and great plays in the run game and big moments throughout the year. And I mean, he has taken the mantle of the leader of that defense, and, man, he's been phenomenal. So I got no problem with your thought there. I like what you're saying there.
Come for the power rankings, stay for the impromptu MVP discussion, and I'm feeling more positive about the prospects of C.J. Stroud if the Texans make the playoffs.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because, Chris, that ballot now has 5 names on it, and I think what's going to happen, potentially, if the Texans make the playoffs, you don't have to be the 1 seed, you could have a jumbled mess of number 1 votes. And there really isn't anybody who captures enough of them to overcome the possibility that everybody puts Stroud at number 2 on their ballot. If you have enough people that put Stroud at 2, he doesn't need to have the most number 1 votes, and he could win it that way.
Yeah, it's. Hey, listen, he's exceeded expectation. What he's doing as a rookie, you heard me say a few weeks ago, it's the best rookie season I can ever remember seeing a quarterback play. I mean, he's big in big moments. He's taking care of the football. He's making a ton of explosive plays. He certainly deserves to be in the conversation. There's no doubt about that. We'll see. We got 8 weeks of football left. But, as we sit here right now, there's no clear front runner as MVP right now, for me at least. There's not. And I think that's good. Makes it a little more intriguing than years past. We haven't seen this in a while.
Absolutely. And
last thing,
by the way, on Stroud,
very cute how you put your 2 favorite teams at 11 and 12. Very cute how you put your Steelers and the Vikings there next to each other. You're like, oh, I don't know what to do with my favorite teams. What should I do? Oh, I'll put them next to each other so they both feel good. I guess you're a little more of a Steelers fan this week than the Vikings, huh? I guess that's the way it is.
Are you finished?
Yep.
I didn't move the Steelers at all because it really wasn't a great win over the Packers. It was just kind of blah. So I left them at 10. The Browns jumped the Steelers after beating the Ravens. I left the Seahawks where they were, too, because there wasn't anything impressive about that win over the Commanders. They should have kicked the crap out of them, and obviously the Dolphins didn't move because they didn't play. So, did we do the – let's show the second screen real quick because people will complain if they don't see the second screen, even though the full rankings are available at profootballtalk.com. There's the second screen, and look at number 32, the Patriots.
That's all you wanted to point out.
That thing that we saw on Sunday morning is unforgivable, and I think the only reason Bill Belichick's still employed is because they are hoping that they can get a draft pick from someone to take Bill Belichick off their hands after the season. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.